So is seasonality our friend in this situation? We just hit the stat on December being one of the best months of the year. With all that's going on in the markets, hopes for a rate cut, the thoughts about a bubble just a few weeks ago, should we look at seasonality for this last month?
Seasonality is a fickle friend. Sometimes it works great, and on balance, you can look at trends, but that doesn't mean that in any given month, in any given year, it's going to work for you. November, classically is actually the best month of the year, and we basically required a half a day with no volume and a late month-end markup rally to just eke us into positive territory. So I don't like to base stuff on seasonality too much. Yes, there's the old adage, sell in May and go away, meaning, buy in October, November, and through April. That does tend to work over time. But in any given month, I wouldn't pin my hopes on it.
All right. We did see kind of a rocky November, but last week we saw, well, whether it's positivity, bullishness, whatever you want to call it. A lot of banks put out their S&P 500 price targets for 2026. The average right now, 75.80. The median's just under that. So again, positive, bullish, whichever way you want to look at it, but you're seeing it very differently. Why are you seeing it so differently than the rest of your counterparts?
I think the difference is I just can't shake the echoes of, prior big moves where you've had this consensus that everything is going to go right technologically for the longest period of time. I'm sort of looking at this scenario going, we are about as positive as we can get. And bull markets don't die. They sort of die when everybody's too excited. And I think we're in a situation now where there's this consensus that AI is going to bring endless profitability, which, to be fair, let me stipulate, I'm not dissing the technology at all, but I'm dissing what's going on in terms of the output. You're turning the companies that are on the board right now have always made their model basically by being capital light and profit heavy. Now they're spending immense amounts of money on a technology that's still uncertain in terms of how it will translate into bottom line profitability for end users. And ultimately, we have to wonder, all this capital, is it being spent wisely and in all the best ways on a technology that we really don't know who's going to be the winners and losers? And so I do get the sense that there's a retrenchment coming. A lot of the data center build out reminds me a bit of the bandwidth build out of the internet era. Which took some retrenchment. I don't expect necessarily a catastrophic end to it like that, but I just think the easy money has been made.
All right, if the easy money's already been made, where do you see the money going to from here? We just kind of hit on the rotation. Healthcare was the best performing sector last month. Does the market broaden out from here? Or as we see the market continue to pick winners and losers in the AI space, at least near term, because we've seen Alphabet go from a laggard down to a leader. Does that lead to just those stocks that are seen as the winners? Do they make all the gains, or does it truly broaden out for this last month of the year?
The last month of the year, I do see us broadening out, and I think the fact that that we started to see investors looking beyond just the same old seven, it's called 7 to 10 names, it was a very positive sign. What I'm seeing here is there's a little bit of like almost a game of Jenga going on where we're knocking out little parts of the speculative areas. And I think that's okay. You mentioned, we saw Bitcoin heading lower. I have seen that as a proxy for risk on, risk off sentiment, at least in a short-term basis. I'm seeing algorithms trading off of it, believe it or not. And so what I want to see here is people going to where the values are, people remembering that it's not necessarily about hype. It's where is the cash flow going? Where are the earnings going? And if we can find other stocks and other sectors that have solid earnings, solid dividends, solid cash flows, that's never a bad way to go.